everybody. This week marks a very special week for me. In fact, this is actually my 50th chapter review. I first started doing reviews, my first ever video on YouTube was Bleach chapter 525, The Battle. But today, what we're going to be talking about is Bleach chapter 575, entitled The Killer's High. Alright guys, for those of my new subscribers who don't know me, my name is Shimigami X, aka your Captain X, and I'm here today to give you my review of Bleach chapter 575, entitled The Killer's High. Now straight away from the get-go, I'd like to say that this chapter of Bleach was much better than, I'd say, the past maybe 2 weeks that we've had, where the battle between Kenpachi and Guremi has been has been pretty much at a very slow and standstill pace. What we get in this chapter, we get somewhat confirmation that this character, Star Knight V, is an actual threat, and he's even considered a threat by Star Knight C, whose name for the life of me I cannot remember. Well, I can remember his name, but I just don't know how to pronounce it, and I'm not going to try and butcher this guy's name. But nonetheless, it's just clearly backing up the point that this Star Knight is actually a threat, and maybe there is some truth to what he said about him being the strongest Star Knight, which I still somewhat disagree with, because Juha himself is a Star Knight, and we still have Hashwog in the mix. So anyways, what I did think was also interesting is that the way he went to describe Guremi is that, why did His Majesty Juha, unleash him? Like, why didn't he keep him locked up? So that already says that this guy is already very powerful. So what was it about him that made Juha decide to keep him locked up? Because nonetheless, surely that all of these Star Knight's powers come from Juha himself. So surely Juha shouldn't see them as be any of a threat, because he could surely just tell Star Knight V, keep your imagination under control, otherwise I'm going to have to finish you. Surely that could be something that could be done. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't take away from this chapter. Anyways, what was really good about this chapter was that we finally see Guremi is going to start to get serious. And what that means is that we're now going to see Kenpachi get serious. And we want to see the extent of his power for the longest time. Now we're going to get to see what he's like when he finally removes his eye patch without all the shackles and restraints. We want to see the power that he was able to use to defeat Unohana, and what else he's learned since then. Maybe the name of Ishikai. I very highly doubt that he has a Bankai, because people can go on about that forever. And you know what, even if he does have a Bankai, it's so unlikely that he's mastered it. Well, nonetheless, it still doesn't take away from this chapter. The things that I liked most about this chapter was simply the artwork and the attacks that Guremi was starting to use. He's starting to be somewhat more creative in terms of the attacks that he's using against Kenpachi. So for example, making like stone pillars collapse on him, like go to crush him, using missiles and machine guns, things of that nature. Yeah, last time he did do creative and crazy things such as lava and whatnot. And Kenpachi's still slicing through them like it's nothing, like it's just any old day at the park. But it does show some more creativity, but I would like Guremi to be even more creative. Like, I don't know, maybe put some really crazy powers going on and have some like crazy conditions that him and Kenpachi must abide by, or something like along those lines. Something to make the battle a bit more complex and a bit more enjoyable. What this battle seems to me, people say that this battle is a mismatch between Kenpachi and Guremi Star Knight V, but I'd argue that it's not. What this seems to be for me is literally testing Kenpachi's mantle, in the sense that instead of just going hacking and slashing and cutting through everything, he's starting to have to use his mind a bit more, which is clearly illustrated when Star Knight V says that, okay, you figured out the slight weakness in my power, that he essentially has to concentrate on that particular person, otherwise his powers don't work. That's what I thought was really interesting and cool. And that is obviously clearly shown when Yachiru can actually move and jump down to Isane to go and get her arm fixed. Now, people are wondering about whether they believe Kensei and Rose are dead, if that's just a figment of their imagination, whether or not, now that he's focusing on Kenpachi, does that apply still? You know what, I believe it does apply, because I believe that they are well and truly dead, and I would like them to be well and truly dead. And this is something that I illustrated and stated in the captain's table with the Elite Ace and Charles' Enemy World. And for you guys who haven't watched it, go and check out the Elite Ace channel, which I'll leave a link to in the description below, and go and watch it there, and you get my thoughts and ideas about that. Alright, well nonetheless, get back into the chapter review. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I do think Kensei and Rose are completely and truly dead. What do I think is going to happen next chapter? Quite simply, Kenpachi seems like he's going to remove his eye patch, which means that, he's finally taking off the shackles, which somewhat contradicts everything that he's been through in the beginning. The fact that he's even using the eye patch kind of contradicts the whole training he went through in Unohana, because wasn't the whole purpose of his training to basically remove those shackles so he can actually fight at full potential? So why is he still limiting himself against an enemy who clearly says that they're strong, and who clearly is strong? And that's also illustrated by the fact that Star Knight C is saying that, because it's clearly to see that the Star Knights are ranked by what letter they are. But what confuses me is that Goremi seems to be the odd exception to that rule, because for Star Knight V to fear him and this other floating Arabian looking Star Knight to see like, like this guy's a monster, for them to say that, that must mean that this guy ranks higher than his letter would indicate. So with that being said, another thing that I thought was interesting, that this Arabian Star Knight, whose letter that we don't get revealed, says that Star Knight V can be considered a monster himself. They both consider themselves monsters. So with that being said, that shows that the Quincy's that are left are truly very, very powerful. So it seems that what we have so far was only, basically tier 1 of the Quincy's, of the Star Knights. Now it seems like we're going to be going into tier 2, where the battles are going to get a lot more interesting, a lot more intense. The powers seem to be becoming a lot more unique, and the battles are going to be somewhat more, probably more dragged out, and in some cases more enjoyable. But anyways guys, I know this chapter review seems short, but there's not really much more to discuss, because quite frankly, not a lot happened in this chapter. The pacing of these chapters has been very, very slow for the most part, but nonetheless, it's still a great chapter, much better than the last 2 weeks. Anyways guys, I'd give this chapter probably a good 8 out of 10, just because we're starting to get some, progression in terms of story. Yeah, fair enough, we're still in this fight, but the fight's finally progressing somewhere. Now we're going to see Kenpachi take off his eye patch. Soon we're going to see Goremi get backed up into a corner and eventually go into his final holy form, which is something that I can't wait to see. Also, we're possibly going to see Kenpachi release his Shikai. And that's what I truly want to see. Well, sorry, not release, is activate his Shikai. And that's something that I truly want to see. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching my review. This is my 50th chapter review, so I tried to be short, quick, and concise and to the point. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And it's your boy, Shimigami X, aka your Captain X. I'm signing out. And as always, my people, take care. Peace.